This week, we're introducing you to Vermont's future kid governor, who was chosen by her peers through a civics education program. The Secretary of State's office said it wanted to bring this hands-on learning experience to Vermont because more than a third of young people who filled out a recent survey said they're not really interested in voting when they're old enough. On a snowy day in Highgate, we met with elementary schooler Rosalind Fortin.
And this is my school.
She's Vermont's first ever kid governor, winning an election for fifth graders that more than 1,000 students statewide voted in.
Well, it was kind of overwhelming because I do an after-school program and I'm at school, so like everyone was like, congratulations, 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 and I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then everyone was just like, oh my gosh, yay, and I'm like, thank you. And it was just like I'm happy that people were excited, but it was kind of overwhelming too.
The Kid Governor program was created by the Connecticut Democracy Center and led locally by the Office of the Vermont Secretary of State. Its goal is to empower fifth graders to take steps that could change the world by teaching civics in a nonpartisan, hands-on way, giving kids experience in researching issues or problems in their communities and thinking about ways to address them.
I can put in my ideas, I can get ideas, and help with my ideas, and use other people's ideas as good ideas.
Rosalind's platform was to support Vermonters experiencing homelessness. She talked about it in a campaign video she made, delivering a speech she wrote.
Almost every time I go to stores, I see homeless adults and kids. Every night, thousands of people in our state have no home to sleep in, no warm bed, no dinner, no clean clothes. And that's not fair.
Like, homelessness can happen to like just about anybody, and those people just need like a little help, to get back up on their feet and to get like all the necessities that they need. And then some people don't know how fast that can happen, and I just want everybody to get the help they need and just learn a little more.
The 10-year-old outlined a 3-point action plan to help the unhoused, featuring food and clothing drives, fun runs to raise money, and community potlucks. Over her one-year term, she'll work with the Secretary of State's office to advance her platform. The 6 other Vermont finalists in the Kid Governor program will serve as Rosalind's cabinet, supporting her initiatives and working on their own youth advocacy projects.
I think it would be nice to make friends, be nice to get together and make ideas, get ideas, make ideas, get ideas from the community to see what they need and to make it a better place,
First and foremost, Kid Governor is just a beacon of light for a lot of people in this time that, it's really exciting to think about youth and the ideas that youth have right now when adults, we're not doing so well sometimes. So hearing the youth's ideas is really important.
Vermont's Deputy Secretary of State, Lauren Hibbert, says the launch of the Kid Governor program here has a serious side, explaining it was a direct response to a recent youth engagement survey her office conducted. 36% of Vermont youth that responded to that survey said they were unlikely to register to vote when they're old enough.
That's something that the Secretary and I really took to heart, and one of the reasons why we chose to do Kid Governor, because all of those fifth graders learned the power of voting, but it isn't just like a mock election where the ripple effects end the day that you vote. Rosalind's going to have she has a platform. She's going to have a cabinet. We're going to work with her to help her accomplish some of her really awesome ideas that Vermont fifth graders voted for, and they're going to be able to see the impact of their vote. So we're hoping that besides teaching the mechanics of voting, people are going to see that their opinion mattered and that their vote led to something.
She said Kid Governor is just one way the office is elevating civics education.
One of the things that we do is we support registration of those soon-to-be adults in high schools with the League of Women Voters. And we really work in conjunction with them. They go into the majority of the high schools in the state and talk about the importance of voting. And then, there's a lot of opportunities for civic engagement for those about that high school group, but that's one of the reasons why we chose to do Kid Governor, because when you look at the scope of opportunities, a lot of them are focused in high school. And that's awesome. That's right when somebody's about to become an adult. But we wanted to get to youth earlier. And a piece of our civics program that the secretary implemented when she took office is on creating curriculum for civics education at every grade level. So we've worked with educators in the state to create civics curriculum everywhere from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade that's appropriate for the age level. So teachers across the state can come and pick up curriculum and use it in their schools. You don't have to be part of Kid Governor to use that curriculum. You can use it at any grade level at any time.
It's in my classroom.
Rosalind says already kids in her class seem more excited to vote one day, better understanding the mechanics of voting, how long of a process a campaign is, and why it's important to pay attention to candidates' platforms and find one that aligns with their own values.
I think it's important to vote because everyone in your community has different ideas or different yes, no's to a question. Like if you ask them, oh, do you like cookies? Some people are going to say yes, some people are going to say no. But voting is what's going to be best for the community and what you think will be best for your community and what will help some people out.
Fifth grade teacher Courtney Kaiser brought Kid Governor to Highgate Elementary.
An email showed up in my inbox this summer from Julie Curtis, who's our social studies lead for the district. And it basically said, hey, Vermont is going to pilot this program this year. I think that this would be great, but it's your choice. Read it over. And I read it over and I was like, this aligns perfectly with what I was going to teach our first unit back anyways. And I really liked that it had a more local experience for the kids, and it was a great potential public speaking opportunity, which I'm always trying to sneak in. They hate it. So I said, sure. We do a lot of educational work in fifth grade, but at the same time, we do so much social emotional learning where they're really learning how to be people, and they're learning how to be a good person, and they're learning the difference between a person that helps your community and a person that hurts your community. And this program has allowed them to kind of categorize that and put maybe more academic language involved in that for them to kind of decide what kind of a person am I going to be. And fifth graders in general, they're constantly asking themselves that question. Everything that they do here is something that when you hit fifth grade, you're finally starting, like math, for example, you're starting to, up until now, you were just doing the basics. Now in fifth grade, you're starting to build upon foundations that you've been building upon since kindergarten and actually put them into practice. You're starting, everything that you do in fifth grade, you're going to use when you get into high school. You're going to have to remember these things. And this is kind of the year where we start to have that skill building and we build that really, really strong foundation for them to bounce everything else off of and grow from there. Our key takeaway was definitely, one, we wanted to make sure that we talked about civics on a scale that the kids could understand, that they could connect with. And it gave the kids an opportunity to research something that mattered to them, to speak on something that mattered to them, and then to have their friends support them in this too, to kind of build that camaraderie around government, around something that really matters, which was great for us. It was really cool to see the kids kind of talk about government officials like they were celebrities instead of, normal celebrities. They were talking about somebody that was educated, someone that makes a difference, and they were getting excited about that. And as an educator, that was really fun to see. We also wanted to highlight the importance of voting and in standing up for what you believe in, something that we work a lot. We have a CARES program here, so we work a lot on things like cooperation, assertion, responsibility, empathy, all those things. And this program kind of was able to allow us to combine all of those SEL skills, social emotional learning skills that we try to fit into every unit. This program kind of already had them built in by having them research a topic that really mattered. A lot of them brought up a lot of things like drug addiction. A lot of them brought up child abuse, animal abuse, things that are really heavy topics that I was really shocked to hear coming from 5th graders. And none of it was really lighthearted topics. They were all things that I was like, okay, these were things that I had to let our IT people know, like, hey, my kids are going to be researching some things that might flag on our system. But it was shocking to see that they care about these things. I know as a 5th grade teacher that these kids listen. They hear everything that goes on at home, even if parents don't think that they do. They hear what the adults are saying and they want to be part of it. And this gave them an opportunity to be part of it. A lot of them did have some more milder topics like school lunches and things like that. But even when we talked about school lunches, a lot of them brought up on their own food scarcity and going home and not having something in their fridge because their parents weren't able to pay rent and buy groceries that week. And having that come from the mouth of a 5th grader was really impactful.
What impressed me was that every person who ran for Kid Governor had a platform that was something that's currently being talked about in the State House. School lunches, that's currently being talked about in the State House. Obviously, homelessness, very much talked about in the State House. Mental health for our youth, particularly post-COVID, very much talked in the State House. So what was really striking and impressive was that our 5th graders care about all the same issues that our legislature cares about, that our governor cares about, that we as humans care about. That shouldn't have been surprising, but it was just really impressive.
The fact that my cabinet members and I were thinking about that grown-ups are talking about them too, that means they're pretty big. And the people, like not just grown-ups, but they're people in the State House. So yes, pretty big.
Rosalyn and her cabinet will be sworn in at a special ceremony in January at the Vermont State House. Vermont's first kid governor hopes it'll inspire her peers to start getting involved in their communities and stay involved when they're older.
Kids observe a lot, they listen, they have great ideas, and yeah, I think grown-ups would benefit a little if they I think they would benefit a little more if they talked to kids a little more,
Kid governors were also elected this fall in New Hampshire, Connecticut, Nebraska, and Oklahoma. The Secretary of State's office says it anticipates the program will return to Vermont schools next year.